a typical feat. So we have a lot ahead on our show this evening. Show you a lot of that cooler air on the backside of the storms we did see move through the area yesterday. And we are going to now head off to the wall with Melissa, who has more on what we can see for our area over the next few days.
Thank you, Riley. It definitely has been a lot cooler behind that cold front today. 63 was our high for Tallahassee today, way below average of 75, and even lower compared to our record of 89 degrees. Definitely a lot cooler behind that front. Today in Tallahassee is currently 61 degrees and cloudy with a bit of a wind coming through. You might have heard it howling around. I did when I was sitting in my apartment earlier today. Our satellite showing that clear skies that we've seen for most of the day. There is some cloud cover that has managed to make its way over, and we will continue to see that over the next 24 hours. Our current temperature is 61 in Tallahassee and 60 in Apalachicola, much cooler than we've seen the past few days. That cold front has brought in those cooler temperatures behind that rain. You see that wind once again coming through the Tallahassee area, 10 miles an hour in Tallahassee, 6 in St. Mark's, and 9 in Apalachicola. So there is a bit of a wind coming through that's pushing around some leaves and dirt. Our dew points, 41 in Tallahassee and 43 in Apalachicola. It's a lot drier than we've seen in the past few days, where we had dew points up in the 60s. And that's because that cold front has managed to push away all that moisture along with it as it's moved off into the Atlantic. Over the next 24 hours, you see that cloud cover coming in and having some partly cloudy skies. Sun is going to cut and peek through from time to time, but overall it's going to be pretty cloudy over the next 52 in Tallahassee, 52 in Apalachicola, and 52 in Perry. So overall we're staying in the low 50s for tonight. Still a lot colder than we've seen, where we've been getting back up to the 60s at night. That cold front has managed to drop those temperatures back down. For tomorrow's highs, 64 in Tallahassee and 68 in Apalachicola. So we're going to continue seeing those cooler temperatures over the next few days. Looking at the day ahead, 55 at 12 p.m. and 62 at 3 p.m. and making back down to 61 at 6 p.m. So staying pretty cool, as we were saying. Tomorrow's marine forecast, 63 degrees and 20 knots. And 3 to 5 foot sea. So overall, it's a pretty nice day if you want to go out to the beach. Just expect a bit of a wind and some cooler temperatures to go along with it. Looking at our week ahead, it is not Easter tomorrow. It is spring tomorrow, starting our spring season. It's going to be 64 degrees and 65 on Sunday. So keeping those nice conditions for this weekend. Looking at rainfall later in the week, as another system is making its way towards us. So now we're going to pass it off to Riley to take a look at the southeast.
Well, Melissa, I mean, with spring approaching, we do have Easter on its way as well. And we can see across the southeast today, we are a lot cooler than we were for the day yesterday, because look at this cold front and the cold front actually that passed through yesterday. This is what brought us some rumbles of thunder yesterday morning here in the Tallahassee area. But we got one cold front, another cold front is on its way. So we definitely are talking here about cooler, more northerly air. And it's actually quite a bit drier too. We see with these oranges and these blacks really indicating that dry, clear conditions even in the sky. Those white areas show a little bit more cloud cover, and that is kind of what it is moving into portions of southern Georgia and the Florida Panhandle, not right now, but within the next couple of days. And currently across the region, we are talking about temperatures pretty much in the 60s, even in the 50s, especially places that really got in on that severe weather on Wednesday. We have that second cold front moving through, really cooling temperatures down. Still holding on to the 60s here in Tallahassee. If you really want to get to that warm spot, Miami is the place for that. Not really beach weather, much else across our southeast area. Dew points are also much lower than they have been due to the cold front passing through. A lot more drier air from the north, so when you walk outside, that means it doesn't feel too muggy. We are feeling like our skin can actually breathe rather than sweat when we step outside, which is very nice. Down in Miami, even that 64-degree dew point there is pretty low for what you see in a tropical city like that. Now, North Carolina is a place we had some tornadoes move through yesterday. We are seeing a much calmer radar and satellite for our day today. Really just seeing some lingering cloud cover from that low pressure system that has moved offshore. Even some showers as you head farther towards the south of Raleigh, and portions of Tennessee into northern Alabama and Georgia. Also some lingering clouds. So maybe not the best viewing conditions for a sunset this evening, but at least we do not have any rain. Portions of South Florida finally saw that cold front move all the way through, so the rain threat is finally done for us here. Left with some clear skies, maybe a couple clouds over Miami right now, but this is what we're talking about for our future radar. We're seeing the chance of some rain to move into portions of Florida and eastern portions of Georgia, along the Georgia coast there. And we're going to see the chance for rain this weekend. It might not make its way all the way into the Florida Panhandle, but here is our rainfall forecast. So we do have some light rain, especially on the way for portions of the eastern seaboard across the southeast, really. But staying dry in areas like Atlanta, Tallahassee. I wouldn't worry too much about bringing out that umbrella this weekend. Now into tonight, we are going to see some very chilly lows, especially in places like Little Rock, only hitting 37 degrees this evening. In Tallahassee, 48 degrees tonight. So if you're going out anywhere, you will want to bring that jacket with you. And portions of South Florida still holding on to the 60s there. Might even want a jacket if you're used to that Miami weather, though. And for our day tomorrow, temperatures aren't going to warm up that much. It's going to really mirror a lot of what we saw for our day today. Temperatures in the mid-60s over much of the southeast. For portions of the Florida Peninsula will be warmer, seeing those reds and those yellows. We will be having some 70s and flirting with the 80s there in Miami. So, Melissa, you have a look more at Florida. What can you tell us about this forecast?
That's right. You can see over Panama City Beach right now, that cloud cover extending over the area. So not a lot of sun going on, but it was a bit cooler there as well. Our drought monitor, you can see that there is a bit of a drought risk, especially for Florida and southern Florida. There is some chances for drought. So be aware of that if you're out and about. Make sure you're not putting out any cigarette butts in a dry area that could catch fire. Especially for out west more, you can see over in Texas, that drought monitor is even higher. So just be aware of that and your usage of water and where you're putting fires out. Our current temperatures are 64 in Tampa, 73 in Fort Myers, and 81 in Miami. Much cooler temperatures than we've seen over the past few weeks, but Miami is still up there. That cold front has just made its way out of there, so they may see a little bit further drop in temperatures in the next few days. Tallahassee, see our muggy meter is pretty low right now, really comfortable conditions, not that humid, icky summer moisture that we're used to in the air. So we're looking at pretty nice conditions for the next few days. Hopefully we can hold on to that for a little bit longer before summer sets in. Our satellite and radar down in Miami, you can see some cloud cover coming through, and you can also see that cold front as it moves its way off into the Atlantic, leaving behind Miami with cooling temperatures for the next 24 hours. Our satellite radar, a bit farther north, clear skies, really sunny conditions today. Beautiful day to go outside and enjoy the day. Our Miami temperatures, 79 on Saturday and 80 on Sunday, still staying up in those 80s, even with that cold front that just came through, with a bit of a chance for showers over the next few days. You can see at Key West, it's 75 degrees and partly cloudy. Bit of a wind coming through there as well. Just a lot of windy conditions following that front as it's finished moving its way off. In Tampa, highs in the 70s for the next 3 days with sunny skies, so really beautiful conditions compared to what it was yesterday. See our friend here. It's Jacksonville, it's 55 degrees tomorrow and 61 on Sunday. Jacksonville does have a chance of showers for Sunday. Just be aware of that. Monday should be a bit nicer with 65 and sunny skies. For our futurecast, see that rainfall moving off and some moving into the Orlando area. That low pressure is sitting right off of the coast in the Atlantic, keeping those showers over in that area. For tonight's lows, 55 in Tampa, 57 in Fort Myers, 47 in Tallahassee, and 64 in Miami. so much cooler than we've seen in the past week. Still staying up there though, not quite getting as cold as we've seen the past few months. You can see Tallahassee 64 tomorrow as our high and 79 in Miami, staying with slightly cooler temperatures that will be warming up in the next few weeks before that next cold front makes its way through. So now we're going to pass it off to Riley, take a closer look at what Tallahassee has for the next week.
Well, Melissa, those temperatures might be a little bit of a bummer if you wanted to spend this weekend at the beach. Currently 61 degrees here with some cloudy conditions, especially we can see those clouds a little bit more to our northwest, currently on this live look at Doak. And those cloudy conditions, at least we get some sun in our current area. Today we did hit a high of 63 degrees. That actually is close to what our water temperature is out there in the Gulf of Mexico right now. So I'm sure our friends out St. George Island felt a very similar day as well. We did wake up a little chilly though today at 49 degrees. Not as cold as that record low set in 1985 there with a low of 31 degrees. And here's a look at that satellite and radar once again. We do see those cloud cover to our northwest, which that is, keeping conditions a little cooler over places like Dothan and Mariana. But here in Tallahassee, we are talking about some more sunnier conditions, which did allow us to be a little bit warmer today. And this is what I'm talking about. We're still in the low 60s here in Tallahassee, up in Bainbridge, only at 58. So that cloud cover has made a difference in our temperature for today. And these dew points, they are dry, especially for what we have seen earlier this week. These 40s indicate that we're not going to be seeing any dew forming this evening. And also, it doesn't feel that sticky outside. It feels actually pretty dry and comfortable. So our upper level water vapor, these orange colors, really show the dry air, a little bit more moist air up where we have a low pressure system currently still making its way across the southeast with those white cloud cover. And our future cast does show some clouds move in for the day tomorrow before we start to see things clear out around midday. So we might be waking up to some clouds tomorrow before we start to see the sun poke out here. Tonight we're going to see that cloud cover really move in and cover the majority of the region, keeping, maybe our temperatures a tiny bit warmer than what they were last night. We'll still be a little chilly there in the low 50s for much of the region. Into the day tomorrow, though, very similar to what we saw temperature-wise today, into the mid-60s, 64 here in Tallahassee, 63 there in St. Mark's. So if we look at our day ahead for tomorrow, we will see that cloud cover still sticking around for that noon time, which will keep us from really getting that daytime heating until the afternoon hours when we will warm back up into the low 60s. So if you're going to have a marine forecast, we're talking about very cool temperatures, but also dry. Now the week ahead, we will be staying in the 60s for this weekend. Spring, the first day is tomorrow before we start to warm up early next week, and the rain chances come back along with the 80s for the end of next week, Melissa.
That's right. So we've had quite an active weather week between all the tornadoes we've had the past few days, including one today in Washington, the first tornado they've had in 30 years. It's not the first time we've had a historical event happen on this day either. In 1993, a dust storm in Colorado. It was up to 6 feet of dust on the ground, and 6 people died among livestock. A really deadly dust storm that came through. And that's not all. In 1990, freezing temperatures down in the south with 8 inches of snow in western Virginia and the Appalachians. And then again in 2003, Denver's second biggest snowstorm in history, up to 2.5 feet of snow in 36 hours. That is a crazy amount of snowfall for such a short amount of time. So many things have happened on this day in history, and today has continued that record-breaking events as that tornado came through. What makes you think what's expected to come in the future years for this date in history? I guess we'll have to see when it comes to next year, see what happens then. So we're going to pass it back off to Riley with a look at what's currently going on in our nation today.
Yeah, Melissa, it'll be interesting. 10 years from now, we'll probably be back talking about, oh, did you know there was a tornado in Washington 10 years ago today? Always fun to look back at stuff like that. And right now we're pretty much looking back at winter, as tomorrow is the first day of spring. We see here we do have a lot of snow cover in portions of the Pacific Northwest. A lot of that snow cover, though, especially in central and eastern parts of the country, has really melted away here as we're now getting into March, get that higher sun angle in the sky, so we see more daylight and more time to melt snow that is on the ground. So we'll continue to chip away at these snow cover as we head throughout the next coming weeks. And our current satellite and radar nationally does show, it's fairly dry over much of the country right now. We see the low pressure system that did bring severe weather to much of the region the past couple of days finally moved offshore, so we do not have that severe weather threat, but what we do have is some wet weather moving into western portions of the country. This low pressure system is also associated with that tornado we did see today in portions of Washington there. And current temperatures are also quite a bit cooler than what we were seeing a couple days ago nationally. Really seeing a lot of 60s, even 50s on the map. You head up into the northeast, we're pretty much well below average in many of those places. We will be having colder air moving through there. And portions of the southeast where we did see that severe weather, we're on the back side of the low getting a lot of northerly air, which is keeping things cooler. And the dew points will reflect that. If we get more northerly air, we're going to see lower dew points and drier air, essentially, is what that means. Really have to go down to Miami if you want to get in on some more humidity. But somewhere else where we're seeing some humidity is the Pacific Northwest, where we do have a low pressure system still making its way in. And this, this blob of green in here is where we did have that tornado form in Washington earlier today. And this rain is going to continue in places like Seattle and Portland, so you definitely want to go out and bring an umbrella if you're heading anywhere. And our futurecast does show this rain will continue to move in through the day tomorrow into Sunday before we kind of start to taper off there. A lot of higher elevation snow as well with this system. Now, speaking of rainfall, our rainfall forecast does show we could pick up quite a few inches of rain, especially as we head towards the west of Seattle. Could be picking up close to 6 inches of rain in some places, which is quite a decent dumping of rain, if we're going to be honest. And speaking of our last pretty much area of rain in this country, well, it's moving offshore. So where we did have a lot of severe weather over North Carolina yesterday, now just being replaced by a lot of cloud cover, and that cloud cover is waning as well as we see a lot of that wet weather move its way offshore the mid-Atlantic. Nationally, not much happening in the center of the country. We'll see the rain start to move its way into portions of the Pacific Northwest. Out here off of the southeast coast is where we will have some rain that will dampen some beach plans if you are heading to places like coastal Carolinas or Georgia or the east coast of Florida. But for our night tonight, we are going to be chilly, especially in places like Chicago and Detroit, dipping down into the 20s there. And seeing all these blues really just shows we are experiencing some below average temperatures over much of the country. Only 53 degrees there in Los Angeles with some windy conditions there. Luckily, no rain in your forecast for the day tomorrow, neither in San Francisco. Sunny skies. We will see some of that rain persist in portions of the Pacific Northwest. And as we head to central portions of the country, making it up to 60 degrees there in Kansas City if you'd like to go out and watch a baseball game. May be good weather for that. A little chilly, though, in Atlanta, 56 degrees. 56 also in Boston, so a lot of the eastern seaboard will be on the same page for the day tomorrow. Dry with some chilly temperatures. Miami, we're flirting with the 80s for our day tomorrow, but we'll just see how close we can get to that. So, Melissa, we are talking about a cooler than average forecast for the next couple of days, but I think we will be warming back up, and that's some good news, especially this time of year.
That's right, and we've got several games going on this weekend, so we're going to take a look at what our weather has in store for those that for these competitions. You can see that FSU at UNCG in Indiana, 58 degrees and sunny. Really nice conditions, but a bit on the cooler side for tomorrow. So if you're over in Indiana and you're going to that game to support our Seminoles, you might want to grab a jacket just to make sure you're warm before you go into that stadium to watch the game. So for tomorrow, or for tonight, we have a baseball game at Miami. So first pitch is 7 p.m. and it's going to be 82 degrees. So if you're down in Miami to watch the Seminoles, you're not going to need a jacket like they are in Indiana. It's going to be a bit on the warmer side, really comfortable conditions. Hopefully that cloud cover will help keep you cool until the sun goes down. As for Friday night out, 63 degrees at 6 p.m., 60 at 8 p.m., and dropping down to 56 at 10 p.m. So you're planning on going out tonight, might want to grab a sweater if you're prone to being cold like I am. Just make sure you're staying warm and comfortable on your fun night out. Over the next 24 hours, you can see that cloud cover is going to be moving in over Tallahassee with some chance for rain over near Quincy and Apalachicola more. So overall, we'll hope that those skies will clear out here and there and really give us a nice weekend this weekend. For your dog walking forecast, 49 at 7 a.m., 49 at 9 a.m., and 54 at 11 a.m. So it's going to be a bit on the cooler side. You might want to wait until a little bit later in the day to walk your dog so you're not as cold when you go out. As for tomorrow, 61 degrees and mostly cloudy. That wind that we've been seeing today is going to continue into tomorrow with still cool conditions for the next 24 hours. Tomorrow's highs, 64 in Tallahassee and 63 in St. Mark's. A bit warmer down south at 68 in Apalachicola. And for Sunday morning, 54 and cloudy. So a lot of conditions going on. It's going to be a bit cooler as that cold front has made its way through, and we'll be warming back up later in the week. So we're going to take one last look at our local forecast with Riley.
Yeah, Melissa, and that is a pretty chilly Sunday that we do have in our forecast. Something that will get chilly is this temperature as we head throughout the night. Currently at 61 degrees, and with that sun, that feels okay, but once that sun goes down, we are going to feel a little bit colder and want to put on an extra layer of clothing this evening. Now, we do have those clouds lingering on our radar, especially towards our west, staying fairly sunny, especially as the east of Tallahassee, Doling Park. They're getting it on sunnier conditions than Mariana, as you may notice from this current radar. And our current temperatures across the region a little cooler, where we're seeing that cloud cover in places like Bainbridge and Quincy, currently in the upper 50s. 61 here in Tallahassee, 60 there in Apalachicola, even warmer at Perry, 65 degrees, because we got a little bit more sun today, got a little bit more daytime heating that helps warm us up a little bit more. And those dew points, though, are still fairly in consensus across the region, showing it is dry outside. You go for a walk, you won't be feeling that sweaty today because of the humidity, because the humidity will be very low. And our wind speeds across the region, 10 mile per hour wind speed from the north there in Tallahassee. Notice all these wind speeds basically coming from a northerly direction. That is why we're seeing such cool air moving into the region, because the air from the poles is colder than the air from the equator. So definitely getting it in on that cooler air. So we won't be seeing the 80s the next couple of days. Something we might be seeing, especially for eastern portions of the state, is some rain this weekend. We do have a low pressure system that will be setting up off of the Florida coast there, or the east coast, I should say, as we head into our Saturday and Sunday. So this might put a damper on any beach plans you might have there in Jacksonville or Daytona Beach. Unfortunately, this weekend, and the temperatures won't be very good for that either. But tonight, we will be dipping into the 40s over much of the region, 47 here in Tallahassee. You notice this cloud cover is going to try to keep things a little bit warmer, but you still will want to put that jacket on if you can. Into the day tomorrow, we will start to see the clouds clearing around midday, and that is going to be bringing some warmer temperatures than what we see tonight, at least. 64 degrees here in Tallahassee tomorrow, 66 there in Carabel. That's reflecting a little bit what we're seeing in terms of ocean temperatures. So this week ahead shows 60-degree temperatures for this upcoming weekend. We're staying dry through the middle of next week, where we're going to start to warm back up into the mid and upper 70s. And by the end of the next week, we could have another chance at seeing some severe weather, temperatures in the 80s there, Melissa.
That's right, Riley. So hopefully, we've had a really active week of weather this week, from tornadoes in the Mississippi and Alabama area, even all the way over to the Carolinas, and bringing some bad weather into Tallahassee as well. You see there is a chance for that again this week as 60% chance of rain on Wednesday, 60 on Thursday, and 60 on Friday. Hopefully we won't see quite as many tornadoes as we did this week. Hopefully keep down on the severe weather, keep everybody safe, but just be aware of whatever's going on around you and stay tuned to your local forecast office. Tune into FSU weather every night from 6 to 6:30 and just make sure that you're not in the line of any potentially dangerous weather coming through. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU weather. And watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/FSU weather. And on Instagram at FSU weather. Send us your pictures. We'd love to post them on our social media and share them with everyone else. And just keep an eye out on the weather. It's been a really great day. I'm student meteorologist Melissa Geiger. Have a great night.